What is something that most people won't believe, but is actually true? Humpback whales will turn on their back and let seals jump on their stomachs to save them from orcas because they fucking hate orcas. They'll try to protect humans too, or blow a wall of bubbles to keep sharks away from a calf because they understand that sharks are fish, and therefore are afraid of bubbles. Birds require gravity to swallow food because they have no sphincter. Because of this, birds would starve in space. The average blood pressure of a giraffe is around 300-190. They need to have a high BP to get the blood all the way up the neck to perfuse the brain with oxygen. I am thoroughly impressed by their cardiovascular system. They also have a specific mechanism to not let their brain explode from too much blood pressure when they lower their head to drink. Truly fascinating creatures. Komodo dragons usually reproduce sexually, but females in captivity have been known to reproduce by parthenogenesis, without the need for sperm. The shortest commercial flight in the world lasted 57 seconds. It was a Loganair flight between two Scottish islands, Westray and Papa Westray. It was recorded the shortest commercial flight, with the distance of 1.7 miles. The northernmost point in Brazil is closer to Canada than it is to the southernmost point in Brazil. The easternmost point in Brazil is closer to Africa than it is to the westernmost point in Brazil. It's a really fucking huge country. There would be a lot more ancient Egyptian mummies if we didn't grind most of them up to paint with or eat. Mummy brown predates the Victorian period by a couple centuries. Mummies were also sold as firewood because when in the desert and not a lot of stuff to burn to cook with. So many mummies were burned, sold as paint pigment, and as party centerpieces. Look up mummy unwrappings. Victorians were fucking weird, that fake mummies had to be made with bodies of executed criminals to keep up with demand. During the Victorian era it was super popular to have mummy unwrapping parties, and the party would normally include eating the mummy. It had something to do with the material that was used to preserve the mummies. Antarctica is the world's largest desert. There's some area there where it hasn't rained for literally over 1 million years. It's so dry that nothing lives there. They use the area to test Mars rover equipment because it's the closest you can get on Earth compared to the real thing. Everest is nowhere close to being the farthest away from the center of the Earth. The top of Chimborazo in Ecuador is 2.1 kilometers farther away. Even crazier is that Chimborazo isn't even the highest mountain in the Andes. So how come Everest is regarded as the highest mountain? I checked, Chimborazo is the furthest because it's located on the equator where the Earth is broadest due to centrifugal force. The atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima released an amount of energy equivalent to the conversion of 0.7 grams, about the weight of a paperclip, of matter into energy. The reason the USA has so many grape-flavored drinks and Europe has nearly none is that black currants have been banned in the USA. For people wondering why black currants were banned in America. Black currant plants carry a fungus, white pine blister rust, that is deadly for pine trees. Growing black currants was banned to protect the pine trees as they are important to the logging industry. The rope around the Earth problem. Take a rope tied tautly around a basketball. Now the rope must be lengthened so that there is a 1-foot gap between the ball and the rope at all points, as if the rope is hovering a foot away around the entirety of the ball. How much must the rope be lengthened to accomplish this? 6.28 feet. Now take a rope tied tautly around the equator of the Earth. We have the same goal for the 1-foot hovering gap around the entirety of the Earth. How far must the rope be lengthened? 6.28 feet. This is so counterintuitive just about no one will believe it until shown the math. In both cases you're increasing the diameter by 2 feet, and since circumference equals pi times diameter, the circumference increases by 3.14 times 2 equals 6.28 feet. Porcupines are very good climbers, so sometimes they climb trees. I think it's more than sometimes. They like to eat tree buds and shoots at the very top, especially in winter. An infinite supply of food would not solve world hunger. We actually have more than enough food to end world hunger, the issue is with distribution/logistics. A single coal power plant produces more toxic waste in a year than every nuclear power plant has ever made. The duck-billed platypus does not have mammary glands and sweats out milk, and the male platypus has venomous spurs. Also, the platypus is bioluminescent and glows purple and/or green in the dark. Also, because it doesn't have a stomach to digest its food, it actually has to swallow rocks to grind its food. The platypus is an anthology of weirdness. It has a leathery duck-like bill, a flattened tail and webbed feet. The males have a venomous claw on their hind feet, and the females lay eggs. And if you look inside a platypus, you'll find another weird feature: its gullet connects directly to its intestines. There's no sac in the middle that secrete powerful acids and digestive enzymes. In other words, the platypus has no stomach. The stomach, defined as an acid-producing part of the gut, first evolved around 450 million years ago, and it's unique to backboned animals, vertebrates. It allowed our ancestors to digest bigger proteins, since acidic environments deform these large molecules and boost the actions of enzymes that break them apart. There was more time between the building of the Great Pyramids and Cleopatra than there is between Cleopatra and now. Yep. Cleopatra is closer to the cell phone than the building of the pyramids. Also, the T-Rex was closer to humans than the Stegosaurus. Dinosaurs were around for a ridiculously long time.